Today have the opportunity to meet Ms. Monica Dhawan, who is a social worker by qualification but a agent of change by profession. She's been with India Vision Foundation for I think 14 years now, and been a
Yes,
director
14
since
years.
2012 at India Vision Foundation. Of course, India Vision Foundation dedicated to transforming the lives of inmates and their families, and seeing how we can use penal action not just for incarceration or punishment, but also as a transformation mechanism. Thank you very much for joining us, ma'am. I'll start off.
Thanks, Alex.
I'll
Yes.
start off by asking you your personal journey. How did you come to work with inmates? How did you find that this is an area that needs some sort of empathy, that needs some sort of new approach to it?
So, Alex, my personal journey, I would define as a transforming for myself also and a learning experience. Because before joining India Vision Foundation, I was a homemaker and I haven't worked ever. And I was specifically engaged with upbringing of my children and taking care of my family, my in-laws and other things. But when I get in touch with Dr. Bedi, and that's how she motivated me to join the foundation. And I still remember the day I went to Tihar prison and interacted with the female inmates. And that really bothered me. That visit to prison was like an eye opener for myself itself, because as a common person, I have seen and heard about inmates only through Hindi films, and the kind of perception I was totally different from what I saw in the prison. And it really boggled me for few nights also, and I could not sleep well, thinking about the interaction I had with the female inmates and the children I saw inside the prison. So and then I came back to Dr. Bedi and I said, "Okay, ma'am, this is really bothering me a lot." And then she helped me and she said, "What do you want to do? So, do you want to keep bothering yourself, or are you looking for bringing smile on their faces?" So I was really very surprised to ask her and tell her, and I see, "Okay, ma'am, how could I bring smiles on their faces?" So ma'am says, "Okay, that's what India Vision Foundation do. So we bring hope inside the prisons, and we give them a hope that there is a life outside the prison also. And while they are inside prison, consider this as a time of retreat where they can introspect about themselves, identify their hidden talents, think about where they have gone wrong, and how they can use their time, which is the ample inside the prison, and make it constructive." So and so that was really a learning experience for myself also. And then during my work in India Vision Foundation, I think I myself has been transformed in my attitude, because now I think I am more grateful to what facilities, or fortunate to have those kind of facilities which we have right now. But still we crib as human being, that this is something which we are looking for. But while working with these beneficiaries, I realize how important whatever you have to cherish that moment. So for me, the personal journey is transforming, and it's a learning process every day.
That is amazing, ma'am. It's so wonderful because, especially for you, ma'am, it's not just been professional, it's been such a personal journey also. It's really, really amazing. Um, After all these years, what has rehabilitation come to mean to you? It's a word we use a lot. We use it when we're studying in law, we use it when we're studying in different fields of study. And to different people, it's come to mean different things. For some people, rehabilitation means education. For some people, rehabilitation means reintegration into society. So, what is your personal approach? What has it come to mean to you?
So I think rehabilitation to me means reintegration. It could be reintegration into the society. It could be reintegration by yourself also. So it's not only reintegration with the society. Many a times when we talk about rehabilitation, it's reintegration with oneself also, with your family members. It seems like we are together, but there are few gaps which help us into reintegrate when you interrespect a lot. So I think rehabilitation for me means reintegration with the society, with yourself, with your friends, with your known people, anyone.
Absolutely, ma'am. Talking about reintegration into society, which is basically the idea that at some point you have to go back to your family. What is it like for the families of these inmates? What is the kind of experience they are having while their family members are in prison? Because you have not just worked, I know, with inmates, but also with their families very closely. So, what is their
So I
experience?
think I will share an incident where I get an opportunity of talking with a mother of a youth inside the prison, and he was a very good person, a young youth, and we identify his talent, and his talent was making paper quilling, art and craft things. So we give them that the material with which he can start working on it. And when he was his mother came to meet him during the mulakat, and he told his mother that he has made this greeting card. So his mother could not believe that, and he told the counselor to please connect with my mother on telephone with you. And then I get the opportunity of talking to her mother, and I told her, and then she said कि मैम आप सच्ची सच्ची बताइए कि मेरे बेटे ने ये किया है, क्योंकि हमें तो ये लगता है कि जो जेल में जाता है वो पत्थर ही तोड़ता होगा। सो क्या उससे पत्थर तुड़वाते हैं? तो I was really very shocked by listening her views, because that is what our Indian cinema has shown. The Amitabh Bachchan in the prison is doing stones or breaking stones. So that is the thing which inmate's mother also have. But then I told her, I explained her कि नहीं, वो जेल में है, हमारी संस्था है जो ऐसे काम करती है, हम उनके साथ बात करते हैं, हम उनको नई नई चीजें सिखाते हैं, और वो बहुत अच्छी चीजें भी सीख रहा है। शायद उसको वो अपॉर्चुनिटी नहीं मिली बाहर। तो फिर देन शी स्टार्ट टेलिंग कि मेरे 5 बच्चे हैं, आई कुड नॉट अफोर्ड द एजुकेशन ऑफ दोस चिल्ड्रन, एंड आई माई सेल्फ इज अ वर्कर, एंड मैं कभी रात को लेट आती हूँ, बच्चे लेट आते हैं। तो शी एक्सप्लेन द मैकेनिज्म और द शॉर्टफॉल of our urban population also, where we talk about these slums villages or the slum areas. But then I was so that is the impact. So she was very worried about what is his life while inside. Obviously she is worried about what will happen outside also, but right now her worry was of him inside. So this is one perspective. Second perspective is definitely the impact on the children. That is the most devastating effect I have, we as India Vision Foundation has seen. In again, there are two kind of children. One are the children who are inside prison, who are brought inside prison. So there are those children. For example, I again quote an example where a girl was born inside a prison. So she has never seen the outside world. And she is inside the prison, born amongst the female. So she could not even recognize a male. So that is the kind of impact the children have inside the prison. They haven't seen any animal. They can only see cat, because that is the only animal which is seen inside the prison. So that is the impact which they have. And what happened to the children who are outside? So in other cases, we have ourselves founded out children whose mother are inside, and at the time of arrest they were not, their children were not taken care of. So they were not knowing where their children are. And when they shared this with us, we gone back and find their children, and we find the children were really doing rat picking. So they were doing rat picking, and they don't know where their mom is. एंड दे सेड कि मैम हमें भी नहीं पता, हम एक घर में रहते हैं जो हमारे किराएदार हैं, वही हमें खाना भी दे देते हैं और हम सारा दिन जाते हैं. So this is the kind of impact. and this impact is not recorded anywhere. So this is not an impact. We never talked about children of incarcerated parents. We never thought of what happened to the children. I'm just talking about female mothers because that is our core area of work. There is devastating effect whose fathers are also inside the prison, because in some cases when the father is inside the prison, then either he, if is in the case of mother's mother, then there is no one to take care of a child outside. But if it is not in the other cases, then mother is the most vulnerable to get the child, earning for the child or get the schooling of the child. So it's a very very different kind of impact on the children, on the family members. So it's not like that that the person who is inside the prison is only impacted. We don't believe that. And we have seen that the impact is not only to the closed family member but overall on the society also. So that is why we are working as India Vision Foundation with the inmates to make this society a more safer place. So that is the entire objective.
And that's so wonderful because stories from the field are always eye-opening. I learned three things just now. Number one is that sometimes prisons can be so opaque that even the families of incarcerated people don't know what's going on in it. Number two is that acts that lead to imprisonment never happen in a silo. There's always circumstances that are um, far beyond just that simple act that leads to the imprisonment. And third is how marginalization continues in cycles, especially for these children of inmates, and how that tends to reproduce the marginalization as it goes along the line. So it
So
is,
that is why our focus is, our mission is to save the next victim. So the next victim is primarily the child. That is why we work a lot on the children to break that vicious circle of crime. But then it is, victim could be anybody. Victim could be you, victim could be me, victim could be the society. So on a whole, our mission is to save the next victim. So that's how we are aligned, and our programs and our activities are aligned towards that.
from the first time you went, you mentioned about your first time that you went to jail till today when you're going to jail. Is there some sort of change you see? I don't know, maybe in the environment, maybe in the how the attitude of policemen are. Is there some sort of change in that landscape, or has it largely remained the same? What is your
No, no, I have, and we have been very happy to share that a continuous working inside the prison with all the stakeholders, especially the prison administration, along with the inmates, you would definitely see a change. There is a change. There is a change. Here I would like to quote an example of Gurugram prison, which is known as Bhonsi prison in Gurugram. And we started working in that prison in 2012.
okay?
And over the our continuous work in around 3 years, we have, along with prison administration, along with a lot of brainstorming with the inmates, we have been able to convert that prison into a model prison for Haryana in approximately 3 to 5 years. And the kind of change was not only in the mindset of the inmates, but there was a visible change in the mindset of the prison administration, ranging from the superintendent to the warder level. And also, we can envision and we can see the change in the entire environment of the prison. So, the entire environment of when you step in the prison, you can see the positive vibes coming from the prison itself, because of the various kind of innovative ideas or the innovative interventions which we brought inside the prison, and that changed the entire environment of the prison. So there is a visible change, and I'm just quoting an example of Gurugram prison, but there are many other prisons, be it in UP, the Dasna prison, or be it in Greater Noida prison, or be it even the Tihar prison. So Tihar is definitely Asia's one of the largest prison, and it has been I think one of the most long back. The reformation started from Tihar prison, and how it has been adding on to it. But then again, with other district prisons also, you see a change, but this change is not overnight. It is a continuous process. It at least require 2 to 3 years continuous work with NGOs, with the prison administration, with the inmates, with the civil society. So again, it's a collaborative transformation. It's not happened with only NGO.
Absolutely, ma'am. But definitely, India Vision Foundation had made a big dent in how the prisons were and how they have progressed, especially in the areas where they work. There's a model that's perfected over time called the 3S model at India Vision Foundation. Could you tell us a little more about that?
So right now it's now 4S model, because pandemic during pandemic we also evolved, and we believe that swast is the one of the fourth component, which is very very important component. So before that, our 3S model comprises of shiksha, that's the education, then comes the sanskar, that's the value education, then comes the swas, that's the mental well-being and the physical well-being, and then comes the skills. So our skills is at the last of the intervention process, because we believe that first of all you have to change the mindset of the, or you have to understand the mindset of the inmates. So that could only happen through education. We all know education help us to 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 evolve. Education help us to identify right and wrong. So how do we do that? So that is where our education come in. And education, when I talk about education, then there are the statistics, there are illiterate inside the prison, there are who have five primary education. So we encourage them a lot for education, and we have adult education classes. And then we also know that there are IGNU centers, there are NOS center inside the prison, but the inmates are not motivated to get themselves enrolled into those education program. So our focus is to motivate them, to sensitize them, to counsel them how important education is for them also. So that's what is comprises of. First is that is shiksha, and then comes the sanskar. So sanskar is value education. So value education is the base of any human being. And we have observed that the youth inside the prison, specifically from the age group of 18 to 21, and especially from these marginalized sections, when they come inside the prison, one thing which we saw missing was the value education. There are ample reasons for that. We don't want to discuss on the reasons, because there are researches, there are studies which show why they are, but our focus is how to give them solution. So that is something where we focus a lot. So we do a lot of life skill sessions for those youth, primarily talking them about gender sensitization, talking them about their own self awareness, talking about drug addiction kind of a thing, and also then bringing in yoga. So yoga, we all know, is how important for the mind body soul. So that's how bringing small kind of meditation programs and other things have really given a good impact inside the prison. So that is comprises of our sanskar and swast. So swast is something which was our priority earlier also, and we focus a lot on mental well-being through various using various therapies, which is like music, art, dance. We have used these as a therapies for the mental well-being of the inmates, and we have studies which show the transformation in the mental well-being of the inmates. But this pandemic has given us that, because the prisons are overcrowded and they have less space to stay, so how important these physical health is also important. So we added on this swast, where we are right now presenting giving a lot of health and hygiene kits inside the prison, basic things which prisons of their so many reasons could not be able to provide to inmates. But with our support, we are providing sanitizers, we are providing masks, we are providing daily use items and other things for them, especially for the inmates who have no mulakats. So keeping in mind, who don't have any mulakat, how they will get all these things? Either they can get from their families or from the canteen. Again, they can buy from the canteen even if they have the money in their account. So that is how we know the shortfalls. So we try to fill in those gaps. So that's what well-being and the swast come in, and then comes the skill. So we don't believe in bringing the skill in front, but then we believe that first the minds have to be set. Once they understand the importance of skill, then their involvement in skill is natural. We don't have to get them on डंडा के बेसिस पे कि आज जाना ही जाना है. They are eager to join those skill development programs which we have initiated, and our skill development programs are more focusing on making them entrepreneurs rather than on jobs, because again we know there is a challenge for them to get jobs. So we have introduced skills like very basic skills like stitching and tailoring. Hair cutting is another which is very easy for them to become a hair cutter. Computer education and these kind of a skill. So this is what our 4S model is, and I think these model keep on evolving. How you work, where you work, what is the need, because our foundation intention is for totally on the need base. What does the inmate wants rather than what we want to give them. So that's our policy or our value also. We ask them, we ask the inmates, we ask the prison administration, so what do you think are the issues and how our intervention can help you in running the prison smoothly. So that is our model.
I'll be very honest, ma'am. For a layman like me, before we started working with researching prisons, skilling seemed to be like the number one priority for. It's what we imagine rehabilitation is, right? That we teach them some sort of baking skill or this thing. But it's so wonderful to see this whole process that has to be first engaged with to make that skilling effective. So that's that's not new, but that's also come from so many years, of course, of working with prisons. What have been your some sort of maybe your own preconceptions? Like I mentioned, one of my own just now. What have been some of your kind of preconceptions about prison that have changed a lot after working? Maybe your top two or top three learning experiences from working with
So
prisoners and their families.
learning, my personal learning experience is that since prison has a moving population, so your work has to be on a continuous basis. So you can't stop.
Right.
Obviously you can sustainable by sensitizing the prison administration.
Right.
They by sensitizing or training them towards reformation. But again we know that prison administration, there are a lot of vacancies, they have vacant positions, there are a lot of vacancy where they can't get good people to be involved in prison. So for my learning is that it is a continuous process. It has to be keep going because the population is a moving population. Some people goes for an average, on an average 10 people get released every day to 15 comes inside also. So that is an average, so it's a moving population. That is one learning experience. The second learning is that it has to be a collaborative model, and it has to be a more of a collaboration looking towards the correctional, not with the punishment kind of a thing. I, with my personal experience and my interaction with a lot of prison administrations, officers, with the inmates, 90% inmates inside prisons are circumstantials.
Mhm.
Only 10% are the core, hardcore criminals. I believe that. But those 10%, we also don't work with them because that's something which the administration also keep us away from them because of the security reasons and ample other reasons. But then 90% can't suffer because of the 10%. So 90% people are there, and you know the statistics, 67% are under trials. But recently in the morning, I came to know that one of the prison where we are working, 85% are under trials. So you can imagine, like people who are under trials are inside the prison, and they don't know what to do about their lives. They think their lives are finished. But that's how important it is. So these are the learning experiences, and there are different expectations from everybody. But
Mhm.
if you are very focused with your intention, your structure of work, your mechanism, then the outcome will be definitely sure.